Welcome to Common Sense Coalition Talk Radio, where you'll find straight talk from people with good old common sense.
I trust your opinion.
And now, for your host, she's putting sense back into nonsense.
Absolute insanity.
Well, you can hear me on the radio. You want to turn me on, turn on your stereo. You can sing along while they're playing our song. How you done me wrong, baby, crank it up.
And now, your host, Beth Ann.
And I welcome you today to CSC Talk Radio. It's my honor, my privilege, and my pleasure to be here with you today. Lions and tigers and bears, oh my. You know, it's Halloween tonight, and or today or whatever, and we'll have candy passed out to the children. They'll dress up in all kinds of things. But what are we really scared of? There's so much to fear today. But the fear is out of ignorance. And I'm not talking about Halloween. Well, maybe I am. Politics is Halloween all year long. The left, the right, the mainstream media all try to convince us of one thing or another. If we would but use our common sense, I think we could find the hidden truths. Maybe. Maybe we can. The hate of the left and the media, they've gone nuts. While some of the language from the right, particularly the president at times, can be harsh and extremely direct, they have not called for violence. Now, they keep saying he has, but he has not. Voting is our strength, however, and that is being attacked by the left. The illegal aliens is about changing your workforce, the workforce here in the United States of America, killing the middle class, changing the trajectory of politics, your votes. The left want to do away with or reconstruct the Electoral College. I don't know if you realize it, but there is a march to do this, and they are plotting an agenda and putting it to propositions. We have one in the state of Missouri. It's called Beautiful Missouri. Is that what it's called? I always get it messed up. Has nothing to do with beautifying America or Missouri. Has everything to do with reconstructing the districts so that the Electoral College will be pumped up by the big cities. So they want to allow non-citizens to vote as well. They want to open the borders and take the USA down to a third world status. We've talked about much of this before. Yesterday, we discussed the history of trade and tariffs and taxes and how long ago that started to be tilted against the USA, against the American workers and industries. Think global, not national. That's why they hate President Donald Trump's statement, "I am a nationalist." They hate white people, particularly men. They hate men being men. Want to sissified the males of the United States. Borders, the 14th Amendment, Planned Parenthood, and our elections. November 6th, will you do your duty to vote? Will the market crash soon? This sounds like a Chicken Man. You remember Chicken Man? Bigotry. We have no crystal ball here, but some common sense conversations. And we're going to bring Melody Cedarstrom in on those common sense conversations because she's full of that. She's full of common sense, that's what I'm trying to say, and knowledge. She'll be on board with us today. So much for the activity she predicted. It is definitely very active. Melody, welcome back to CSC Talk Radio.
Well, thank you for having me. It's always I always enjoy being here.
Well, we do. We cover a lot, and we have a lot to cover today. But before we get started on some of those topics, I wanted to ask you about the gold and silver and the stock market. I saw something that predicted it was going to crash on the 29th, but that didn't happen. It didn't crash. What do you think about all these things?
You know, I've been doing this for almost 25 years, and every year there's always an October surprise. And, you know, this year was no different. And, you know, it's hard to, there's always a possibility. And I think every day we get a little bit closer. But we still need to focus on the fundamentals. And if we stick to the fundamentals, we can see just how, you know, how difficult and how we're just sort of at the edge of the cliff, so to speak. So, yes, we've had ups and downs. We've had a lot of volatility. The volatility really began in the stock markets once that 10-year yield popped above 2.60, and then it just had a good run up to 3.25. And this is we've seen all this true volatility in these markets. The emerging markets are coming undone, and no one really talks about the trillions of dollars that have been lost in these down days that we've experienced, and particularly globally. And so there's a lot of money lost, and absolutely no one is talking about, other than us, of the consequences of the losses of trillions of dollars. So
yeah, because that had to affect all the 401ks.
Well, absolutely, and but I'm talking about brokerage houses and so forth when they're highly leveraged, and we see a stronger dollar, so you have a lot of that debt's going to cost more. So the servicing of the debt of these corporations, they can't borrow at as cheap as they once could. So so when you have the fluctuations in the stock markets and other money's lost, I mean, it's bound to at least hit some of the smaller brokerage houses and so forth with the leverages and everything. So, but no one talks about these margin calls. No one. Everybody just goes on like it's a normal day, and you should get out and buy on the dips. And we had some big pullbacks earlier this year, and it really kind of shows that. We have you have the individual investor that's going into the stock market since earlier this year, and they buy on these dips. Instead they should be selling and running. But it's also the last phase of any bull market is when the individual's in there, because all the big money's out, all the big money's gone. They protected themselves. And so they're protecting themselves as the individual goes in there and buys to help keep it propped up. And, so it's the same game. It's no different. The only difference this time around is we've got so much debt that and there's no assets. Debt is not an asset. And, when you have this debt and when the system corrects, it's not going to come back as it did since. Look how many trillions of dollars had to be put into the market for the Dow to go to 6,000 to 25,000. Let's count the $1 trillion. So those $1 trillion aren't going to be available. So no, there's no way the market will ever come back. The money will be lost to these pension funds, to these retirement accounts. To the senior citizens who worked so hard, thinking they could have a nice retirement, and so it's a gloomy picture. I understand.
Gloomy. It is,
but it's not gloomy if they protect themselves.
Which is why we have you here.
Yes, and I couldn't do this if I didn't believe in it. We can't fix this country. We can't be great again unless we fix our monetary policy. It's as simple as that. Fixing it isn't simple, but understanding the problem is simple.
Right. Well, fixing it would have been simple if we hadn't gone down this road for so many decades. And
we wouldn't have a problem.
No, that's true. We are headed into a break, though. I have several things I want to talk to you about, but I do want to talk about the gold and silver first. You can visit our website by going to dgscoins.com. That's dgscoins.com. You need to protect yourself. They're not terribly stable, even though we're being told they are. We've got some fluctuations going on. They're not terribly stable. Give us a call at 877-895-5410. That's 877-895-5410. And Melody and Beth Ann will be right back.
I got some good